Heard of
Sausage?
the UFC fighter.
The sausage?
Sausage.
Welcome to the Siri Yanks channel. I appreciate everybody coming by and spending a little bit of your time with us. We are the channel that's pretty much so random that it's made for anyone. Whether you're brand new to football, whether you've been watching football since day one, we do a little bit of everything here, including this video, which is the top 10 crests for non-league football. And before I get started into that, what non-league football is in the English tier system. You have league football, which is the Premier League, the Championship, League One, and League Two. And once you get below that, you're considered non-league football. That is where a lot of the scrappy players are. A lot of the sleeping giants like Notts County reside at currently. So there's just a lot of really cool looking crests. Some very new, some very old. There's a mixture of pretty much everything you could think of in non-league football. I did give myself a little bit of guidelines here. Otherwise, I would have been researching crests for 3 months straight because there are just so many clubs once you get below the National League. So I did confine myself to National League North, and National League South, at least for this list. So what I did was I looked at every crest and I pretty much compiled a list, and then I got my 10 favorite. This is not based off any sort of scientific ranking, any sort of history ranking, any sort of how they look, just the top 10 crests that I think are just badass. But a quick shout out before I get into the top 10. There were 4 clubs that just missed out on my top 10 list, and that was Barnet, Dartford, Maidstone United, Hampton, and Richmond Borough. And I did say bro. I'm not going to say bruh or borough, you know, don't make fun of my American accent if you're in England watching this, because I already know I probably just hit a little nerve when I said that. So that said, let's go ahead and get into the top 10 list. Bingo. At number 10, I've got Hereford Football Club. Now, there's only so much I can say about this if you're looking at it on the screen right now. It is basically a animal in the middle of a crest. Now, if you take away the animal, it's a pretty basic crest, but it's named after the the Hereford cow, the bull. I know they're called the bulls, but I think it's a cow. I'm not 100% sure. Correct me in the comments all you want to, but either way, I mean, the colors of this crest, it goes perfectly with with the actual animal in the middle of it. Love it. Again, there's not much I can say about this other than it is just really cool to the region, and it's really cool to see a club doing something like this because it is sort of unique, and for that it gets a lot of points for me, so it comes in at number 10. At number 9, I've got a club called the Farsley Celtic. There's a lot to take in on this crest. I look at this in 2 different parts. You know, the armor at the top with the horns and the green horns. I think that is absolutely badass. Now, you know, just because this is a top 10 list doesn't mean I don't have some complaints. My complaint about this is the way Farsley Celtic is written. It just looks like it comes off Microsoft Word or something. I believe you could condense those letters. Maybe and fit it into the actual crest a little bit better, maybe change the font a little bit, and if that were the case, I think it would look awesome. It's a fairly new crest from what I read. I don't remember the guy's name, but I think he took it over a few years back and changed pretty much the identity of the club. And I did see the entrance to the stadium for the club. I believe it's called the Citadel, or maybe it's just the Citadel entrance, I'm not sure. But either way, it looks badass, and I encourage you to Google that when you get a chance. But either way, it's a pretty solid crest. I love the top of it. It's so just intimidating. Again, if it wasn't for the crest, if it wasn't for the text, this would probably be up a little bit higher. It's unique. I can see your argument on why it looks sort of like a Create a Logo crest, but at the same time, it's unique. I love it. Comes in at number 9. At number 8, I've got Weymouth Football Club, otherwise known as the Terras, which if you look at the crest, you automatically pretty much know what that means. It's a ship that's important to the region. And, you know, you look on the crest, I can actually, you know, I'm obviously American, but I can see the 3 lions in several places. I don't particularly know what the flag there at the top of the ship is, or the checkered red and white flag there is, but I'm sure someone that could let me know in the comments. But either way, Love this crest. It's got a classic feel to it, but at the same time, the colors just pop just right. And again, the influence of the ship in the region, I think it's a great looking crest. It's a solid crest, proper crest, comes in at number 8. Moving on to number 7, I've got Eastleigh Football Club, and this crest was the first crest that made me go, I want to know a little bit more about this. And upon reading about it, the plane in the crest was called the Spitfire, or the Spitfires. I know that's also the nickname of the club. But either way, that plane flew out of the airport in the region. And I just think there's something about this crest that, yeah, you've got the classic plane in the middle of it, right? But you've also got a modern look to it. I think it's just a perfect combination of a modern crest with a classic feel to it. And for that reason, I've got it at number 7. There's nothing insane about the colors, of the crest. Nothing pops out or anything, but it's just a really cool looking crest. And for that reason, I've got it at number 7. Number 6, just before we get into the top 5, I've got AFC Filed. And forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, but this crest has a lot going on in it. I could not begin to tell you what every symbol in this crest means. It looks like you've got a sailboat or something, maybe a windmill. Maybe it looks like some industrialization to the left. Looks like you've got a jet on the top, a seagull on the top, and what I assume is a water at the bottom, since they are called the coasters. There's a lot going on in this logo, and that isn't really the reason why. I think the colors mesh super well together, mix that with the fact that there is a lot going on. It just all fits together somehow, and it's eye-popping, it's eye-grabbing, and for that reason, I've got it at number 6, although I would love to learn more about what these actually mean. So if you are from the area or support this club, please, by all means, educate me in the comments. So kicking off our top 5, I've got a club by the name of Southport Football Club. Now, this crest reminds me a little bit of Sutton United, which would have made this video had I made this video last year or the year before. But it reminds me a little bit of their crest. I don't really honestly know anything about what goes into this crest, but it looks like a last name of a crest, family crest. But either way, it's a badass looking. Literally couldn't tell you anything about it, but if you look on the screen, it is awesome. So for that reason, I've got it at number 5, even though I don't have hardly any information for you. At number 4, I've got Scarborough Athletic Football Club. Now this is number 4 on my list, but this crest is clearly number 1 in everybody's heart. I mean, look at this thing. Look at this thing. And if you've ever been in a fight with a seagull, you know that they are absolutely rabid until they get what they want. This particular seagull looks like it is calling for all of its friends, all of its family, all of its kind for battle. And as the crest says, without a battle, you don't have any victory. So clearly this seagull is here wanting victory. This is what Swansea City wishes its swan looked like in the crest. And if I indirectly just started a war in the comments, I don't think there's any disdain between the two clubs. But either way, this crest is just badass. I don't know anything behind it, but just the bird makes it top 5 alone. I mean, look at it. Just look at it. Number 4 on my list. We're ready for victory. With the Bronze Award, we've got Daggum and Redbridge, and I've heard this pronounced 18 different ways, so I probably said it wrong. But interesting history behind this club, and I would also urge you to go down a rabbit hole and read a little bit about this club as well. There's an argument to be made on what date should actually be on this crest. It could be pretty recent, could be super old. Hey, whatever argument you make, I agree with, but this crest does, in my opinion, scream that it is in the London area. I mean, they're called the Daggers, so I do love the dagger that's actually in it. This is a really nice looking crest. This is a proper football crest. And although I could sit here all day and go over the history and the controversies behind this club, but just read about it. But that says nothing about the crest. Awesome crest. Good job. At silver, number 2, and if you are from England watching this, you probably thought this particular club would be high on my list, and you are right. So at number 2, I've got Boston United, the Pilgrims. Yes, our Boston in America is named after this Boston. So there's a lot of history, a lot of connections between both cities in this, but that's for a different video. But if you look at this crest, obviously you've got the ships, looks just like the Mayflower, the Nina, the Pina, the Santa Marina, blah blah blah. The Pilgrims, awesome looking crest. I love the colors. Obviously, it's got a cool name. Yeah, what else can I say about it? And also, they're pretty good on social media, especially on Twitter. So that said, Boston United, number 2. And at number 1, taking the gold, a team that I don't even know how to properly say, and I could not tell you a single thing about the crest, other than it just looks awesome. At number 1, I've got Spinnymore Town. Maybe that's how you say that. I have no clue. I know they're called the Moors, and that's pretty much it. But looking at this crest, it again looks like sort of like the crest from earlier and the Sutton United and blah blah blah. But I love the colors behind this crest, and I love what's going on at the top. It looks like there's maybe some sort of creature at the top and a burning building. The orange looks awesome, which is unique. There's not a whole lot of orange going on outside of maybe Hull and Blackpool, really the only clubs that come to my mind, and Barnet maybe. But anyway, orange is unique to football. I love it, love everything about this crest, even though I don't know anything about it. So that's my number 1. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I appreciate everybody actually watching it to the end and seeing what was number 1. I don't know a whole lot about these clubs, you know, and I assume not a whole lot of Americans really do. If you're from England and you do support one of these clubs, please let me know more about these. I just put this video together really fast for fun. There's no harm in making a video like this. So please comment and let me know which ones you liked and which ones should have made the list. I'd be happy to read about it, and I would love to know more about some of these crests, especially the ones that I don't know anything about. That said, everyone have a great day. Enjoy your weekend or week whenever this gets posted. Be safe.